Across every era of warfare, from the tribal clashes of ancient frontiers to the mechanized movements of the 20th century and the rugged counter-insurgency operations of today, one battlefield truth refuses to die. Armies can adapt to new weapons, new armor, new scouting methods, and overwhelming firepower, but they still struggle against one specific tactic that leaves commanders uneasy, even in the age of satellites and drones. It's the tactic that can collapse a convoy, overwhelm a patrol, and erase the advantage of superior numbers. It's the tactic that has brought elite units to a standstill and continues to appear in training manuals because there is simply no perfect defense against it. Professionals call it silent envelopment, but most soldiers experience it as the sudden realization that everything around them went quiet a few seconds too long. This tactic has outlived empires, forced modern militaries to rewrite doctrine, and continues to shape how armies move supplies, scout terrain, and choose where to place command posts. That is why today on In the Beginning we are breaking down the silent ambush, how it works, why it has survived thousands of years, and what makes it so feared even in 2025. Let's get straight into the core of the tactic. The first key principle behind the silent ambush is that it weaponizes stillness rather than sound. Most ambushes rely on noise, the crack of rifles, explosions, or shouted commands. The silent ambush does the opposite. It uses arranged quiet to smother a patrol's situational awareness. Military historians point to frontier skirmishes where indigenous groups would fuse their movement with the natural silence before dawn, slipping into position without disturbing a single branch. But the same method resurfaced in the jungles of Southeast Asia, the mountains of Afghanistan, and even in urban ruins in the Middle East. In all cases, the pattern holds. The ambushes freeze, letting the patrol advance into a pocket where escape routes vanish and awareness collapses before any shot is fired. One way to understand this is through practical application. Walk a wooded trail at dusk with a group of people behind you. When the sounds around you suddenly stop, no bird calls, no insects, you instinctively slow down. Armies experience that same hesitation, and the silent ambush weaponizes that pause. The second element of the silent ambush is the unseen funnel, a shaping movement designed to push the enemy into a narrow, controlled zone without them noticing it's happening. In historical battles, this was done through terrain familiarity, knowing where a ridge, stream or rock formation gently forces a column inward. In modern contexts, the funnel may be an alleyway, a mountain pass, or a thin road carved through farmland. The key is that soldiers enter the funnel willingly. They think they're choosing the safest path when in reality they are being herded into a strike zone. Special operations instructors often train recruits to recognize these patterns by having them practice reading the environment. For example, in a training scenario, recruits might follow a path between two slopes. As they move, instructors tighten the corridor with natural features, until recruits realize they have walked into a geometric choke point. Modern militaries still struggle against this because even with drones overhead, nothing on a screen communicates subtle shifts in terrain the way boots on the ground experience them. The third essential component is the coordinated release, the moment when the silent environment transforms into action. Silent ambushes do not rely on a single trigger man, but on a network of watchers who maintain eye contact across the funnel. When one signals, all move at once, and it is the suddenness of the transition that overwhelms the target's ability to respond. During the Rhodesian Bush War, counterinsurgency units documented ambushers who waited in absolute stillness for hours, only to strike with complete synchronization the second a vehicle crossed a predetermined marker, such as a particular tree or bend in the road. That level of patience is what makes the tactic timeless, because technology cannot replace the human ability to remain motionless and alert in difficult terrain. The modern version of this principle can be seen in training exercises where a team remains concealed until their instructor drops a hand signal. The goal is to teach controlled timing, because, well, an ambush that triggers too early or too late collapses instantly. The fourth factor is the escape path, something that really distinguishes elite practitioners from amateurs. Silent ambushes are never about annihilation alone. They're about striking without being caught. Historically, forces like the Viet Cong and Afghan Mujahideen perfected this skill, slipping back into tunnels, tree lines or ravines before larger forces could retaliate. The modern military acknowledges this in its doctrine by emphasizing that an ambush site must have a withdrawal corridor that allows fighters to disappear as efficiently as they appeared. A simple way to understand this is by analyzing a hiking trail that forks. If the ambush is set on the straight path, the escape might be through the left fork, hidden by vegetation or terrain dips. The goal is movement without leaving a clear signature. The final reason this tactic remains feared is that it attacks the mind before the body. Armies today rely heavily on technology for awareness, but the silent ambush strips away that advantage by assaulting the senses. Drones can't detect absolute stillness. Satellites can't sense tension in the air. And vehicles can't interpret the unnatural quiet that signals danger. This is why Special Forces units still train extensively in pre-industrial ambush detection methods. The final reason this tactic remains feared is that it attacks the mind before the body. Armies today rely heavily on technology for awareness, but the silent ambush strips away that advantage by assaulting the senses. Drones can't detect absolute stillness. Satellites can't sense tension in the air. And vehicles can't interpret the unnatural quiet that signals danger. This is why Special Forces units still train extensively in pre-industrial ambush detection methods. They teach recruits to pause when the environment becomes unnaturally calm, to scan tree lines for static shapes, and to recognize terrain funnels before stepping into them. These techniques are rooted in centuries of experience because the old skills still protect soldiers when modern equipment fails. Silent ambush tactics endure because they exploit human psychology, terrain knowledge, and disciplined stillness rather than raw firepower. They have shaped battles, stalled invasions, and continue to remain part of modern training for one reason: they work. If you want more historically grounded analysis and survival-focused breakdowns, make sure you subscribe to In the Beginning. Share this video with someone who appreciates real battlefield knowledge, and help grow a community built on understanding the tactics that shape the world.